Hey, Hardin County. So December 17th, again, I'm going back and just reporting on what's in the meeting minutes because I didn't attend that particular meeting. So Hollyson Bailey was appointed to the library board, Hardin County Library Board. They have this auditor of state engagement letter, which I'll have to do some research into. It was 54,000, almost 55,000, and it went up to 57,000 just because there was a little bit more work that needed to be done um, on on that end of it. Sharon Houston came in. They have $1,000 licensing fee because if you remember, we had county-owned beds and we moved those up to state certified beds, which then means you have to pay a licensing fee. So that was $1,000. Medicaid still has issues. They're going back and looking at the 2022 money. So Ohio has had this whole thing where there was a lot of overpayment, and they basically got audited, and so they found out that there was these double payments going on, and it's kind of it's known across the United States that Ohio got busted for this. And so they're going back and reviewing and auditing these past years. She said they owed them $5,000 and then another $14,000 is what for these Medicaid issues. They still have this overpayment that happened, and they're holding back the $450,000, and they can come back for that 7 years. For 7 years, they have to resolve that. So they're just holding on to it. They're scanning documents out there. The medical forms, they're taking them from paper to digital. The auction has all cleared. All the checks and everything were fine. I think most of the supplies is all gone. The unemployment costs, so when I don't know how they did that. They laid everybody off, or everybody quit, and so they get unemployment for so long, and so that number is coming down. And then after next month, there'll only be 3 people left on unemployment. So we still have 5 people working as of January 9th for about $50,000 a month is what we're paying for that. Amber Cronley came in and had an executive session for personnel. They, by law, are required to give their subcategories to the personnel executive session. They don't do that properly, so they just state G1, which is illegal. So hopefully they will one day figure out that they have to do that additional documentation on like compensation, discipline. There's different things that they have to say. They can't just say personnel. Judge Santos came in. There's a whole thing with our judges in the prosecutor's office of not having enough lawyers and people to try these cases. And so Santos came in and just asking, a lot of their salaries were paid with grants. So she had some extra monies that she didn't use, and so he wants them to have, so they want to take, I think what they're saying is they want to take out $200,000 out of her budget. And, so out of the front, and then if they need it later on, then the commissioners will give it to her, right? Which makes it a very it's like, will you really give it when it's actually needed? But they want it out at this front end. They want to make sure she has a balanced budget. And she came back and said, for this year it's going to be okay, but next year is going to be a problem because they're losing their grant money in September. And so we're really in a tough situation, kind of like what who was it that had, well, the health department, right? They got in a situation like this, that their salaries were paid by grants, and when the grant money dries up, you can't afford it, right? Because you didn't budget for it, because it was already paid for, And so when that grant money goes away, you have no way to pay for the thing. So that's kind of the situation they're in. It's interesting because I was in a meeting with the judges a little while ago. They're talking about I wasn't in, the meeting was at the commissioner's office where they're talking about the public defenders. And I thought I recorded that meeting and I messed up my phone, and so it didn't get recorded. But the gist of it is that when you have your money, when you have things, okay, we get in a situation when we're not bringing enough the money into Hardin County to pay for the people who need to work in Hardin County to get the jobs done, be it the health department, the courts, the sheriff, whatever it may be, right? And so you go out and you find grant money for these salaries, and so you can sustain this overly broad government because grant money is supporting a large portion of it. Well, when that grant money goes away, then you don't have that. Then you don't have, you have too many people, and now you have to shrink your government and still maintain the things that you have to do by law. So these public defenders come in, and this is a pilot program for all of Ohio. They've never done it before. They want to come in and do a regional public defenders, and it's all going to be paid for. From what I can tell, the judges aren't for it. They don't want to do it. They want to just get some money to hire somebody local that is going to focus on Hardin County instead of sharing across the board. And so they kind of balk at it. But when you're sitting in that meeting and they're given the sales pitch that it's like, not we're gonna pay for these public defenders, right? Not only are we gonna pay for it, but we're gonna pay extra to cover your other cases. And they start laying out all this money to entice you to do this pilot program that's never been done anywhere else. And so again, why did we have to cover the judges and our health department and all these things with grant money? Is because at the end of the day, you're told we don't have any money. So if you want to keep your job or you want to keep the courts open, then you are enticed to go with these grant programs. You are enticed to go with these things. And it's really a cycle that I think is not beneficial when the rug's pulled out from underneath you. So, at the end of that meeting, they were like, well, let's hear some more about it, right? So they're going to have another meeting and push this process forward. But, again, the lady that was selling this and saying, well, we're going to pay for these extra cases that we normally wouldn't pay for, pending that the state approves it. If the state doesn't approve it, then you're not going to have your money either. And so you have from January till the fall of when they're going to actually find out, when the legislation goes through, that they get this pilot program approved, that you're in no man's land. Do you hire somebody short term only to fire them when this pilot program comes in? Or do you just make do with what you have, which is not enough staff and not enough help for this next 8 months while you're waiting to see if this is approved? And if it's not approved, well, now you've just wasted all this time by not having somebody in place. And if it is approved, then then you're going to have to figure out how this whole system works and how long is it going to be approved. Are you talking about a year or 2 years? And at the end of those 2 years, are you going to be stuck with a system that doesn't work? And so, it gets real hairy real quick as far as using money from other people. And I have seen Roger wag his finger in people's faces and saying, this is why you shouldn't pay people's salaries with grant money. And yet that's the position that they're putting people in, because the prosecutor came up and said, hey, I would like $60,000 to have our own, to retain our own counsel. Well, now they're saying, well, we don't want to do that. We want you to get it from this grant money. So you can't have it both ways. And, you know, it's not good either way. Our county needs to figure out how to bring more revenue into our county so that we can actually pay the people that we need to have on staff to care for its citizens. So anyway, so that was December 17th, and I hope you guys are having a good day. Okay, bye.